GM. GM. Today's lesson: how to know if you're making progress. This is one I've been thinking about because I think a lot of people misunderstand it, and a lot of times when you're doing anything in life, you kind of anchor whether you're making progress or not based upon tangible results, right? So if I'm making more money, then I'm making progress. If I'm winning more trades and my account is growing, then I'm making progress. If I'm making more sales and making more revenue at work, then I'm making progress. If I'm getting stronger, lifting more weight, getting bigger muscles, then I'm making progress. Those are the obvious ways of seeing that you're making progress, but that's not all progress. You can make progress without the results coming right away, and it's really important that you learn to identify why, because this is one of the biggest things that will keep you motivated and keep you on track when things feel tough. So I'll give examples from trading, from sales, and from the gym. We'll start with the gym, physical fitness. You know there's two aspects to getting better, getting bigger, and getting stronger. The first is not actually getting stronger yourself. Before your muscles can get stronger, your brain has to adapt and learn the form, learn the technique, learn the pattern of movement for the exercise. So if you've ever started in the gym, you'll know this. When you had never done a bench press before, and you went in the first day and you started benching, your form was probably not great. And you're able to make massive gains just by getting your form better. And you can get bigger and stronger by keeping the same weight, but doing it with better form. If you lift, let's imagine you sit down or you lie down, you do bench press with 60 kg on the bar, and your shoulders are not locked back and engaged, your core is not engaged, you're not pushing up with a motion where your elbows are pushing towards each other, you're not engaging your pecs. If you're training like that, you're actually going to feel the pain, the DOMS, the muscle soreness the next day. You're going to feel it on your triceps or maybe your shoulders. You're not actually going to feel it on your chest. And so your chest isn't going to grow. But then you learn over time, you're like, okay, I need to squeeze my shoulder blades together. I need to keep myself tight and locked. I need to squeeze up and feel it in my chest. And as your form gets better, even though you haven't increased weight, you could train for a few weeks with just 60 kg and build a bigger chest. And then you reach a point where you need to add weight. That's an example of how in the gym you can make progress without the traditional measure, which is, if I'm not lifting more weight, I'm not getting better. By the way, for anyone who's training, that's super important, because one of the biggest mistakes I made when I was younger was this relentless obsession with adding more weight. And it meant in some exercises, I would add more weight before my form had actually improved. And that's actually how I got a shoulder injury from bench pressing. So I know this firsthand. I was shoulder dominant because I didn't have the correct form, but I kept going 60, 70, 80. I got all the way up to doing 130 kg, 135 kg bench press for like one rep, like a fucking idiot with bad form. And of course I got injured. But with actual proper form, I should have been way, way lower. Drop the weight, drop the ego, focus on correct form, focus on engaging the muscles, focus on the connection of the muscles to the mind. Sales, another example. How can you make progress without making more money? Well, sales is all about making money, right? No, it's not. It's actually about making fewer mistakes or being aware of the same mistakes you made before and the outcome of them. What does that mean? So it's very easy to say, I made 20k this month in sales. And then next month, I made 30k this month. I have progressed. Sure. But what about the months where you have no sales or just low sales? This month I made 5k, next month I made 5k. Does that mean you went sideways? You went stagnant? Not necessarily. It's not all just about the number. One of the things I noticed the most was call duration and other outcomes. So if you've worked in sales, you'll know this. The outcome of every call is not to make a sale. You have tiers of outcomes. Obviously, in the perfect scenario, you'll close somebody and make money on the call. But you can also get an in-person meeting with them, which is like the next level down. If you can't close them on the call, go and meet them in person. So if you try for the sale and they don't go for it, meet them in person. If you can't meet them in person, get a commitment for some type of work. They might say, we don't need anything at the moment, and you get a commitment. Okay, can we start to look proactively for you for something maybe in the next 6 months? Get some kind of commitment for future business. If you can't get that, get a scheduled callback and say, right, you're busy, you don't need anything now. Okay, can I call you back in a month? Let me put it in your diary at this time, at this place. We'll keep in touch. We'll follow up then. Some kind of outcome. If you can't get that, this is what we were taught in sales and what I taught my team. If you can't get that, get a referral for someone else in your company, right? You work in one sector, but maybe the person you're speaking to might know someone or have some need in another sector that one of your colleagues can fill, and you can get a referral by giving that client over to one of your colleagues. We would always teach that to our staff, because every call must have an outcome, and the outcome does not have to be making a sale every single time. So even if your sales went sideways, you made 5k this month, you made 5k the last month, and on paper you haven't made an increase, but how many more meetings did you book? How many more commitments for future business did you get? How many more callbacks did you schedule? How many referrals did you pass to your fellow colleagues? If all those numbers are going up, you are progressing. And then in trading, this is the biggest one, this is the most important one. Yes, going from unprofitable to break even to profitable over time, that's the measure of a trader's success. But within that, and this is over a long term, the biggest thing I've noticed about true progress as a trader is the magnitude of your mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have slip-ups. You're going to have lapses in your emotions, your psychology, and all of that. You're going to be prone to fear and greed and all the usual emotions. But the mistakes, if your mistakes are getting smaller, right, even something as simple as when you started out, you used way too much size and maybe you blew up your entire account. And then you came back, you built yourself back up, you went and made more money, you started back in again. And the next time you slipped up several months later, after you learned a bit more, you lost 20% of your account. That's still not ideal. You don't want to lose 20% of your account in one day or on one trade. That's still risking too much. But it's an improvement from 100% down to 20%. And then, of course, you increase that, or so you decrease that again, to where the next time you get to a point where a massive mistake for you is like 3, 4, 5%. That's a big mistake. That's a huge increase in your trading capabilities and your progress, even though it's not even tied to making money. It's actually tied to losing money. Other things is how you get, this is one of the big things for me. Probably the biggest detriment that I had as a trader when I started was trading in chop. I was really good at trading in trends, and I was bad at identifying when the market shifted from trending to kind of this directionless, choppy range. And I'm just going to make up numbers here. Let's say I had $1,000 and then we had a strong trend and I doubled my account over 2 or 3 months, right? We had like 3 months of trend. I doubled my account, grew it up. Then I would give it all back. I would give all the profits back. Give that $1,000 back in the next 6 weeks of choppy price action, because I was trying to long the breakouts, trying to catch the entries, getting stopped out, all of this stuff. And I would end up back where I started, back with 1,000, right? A big difference for me was over time realizing that I was taking fewer trades in the chop. So I analyzed my numbers, and this is where it's important to keep track of your data, where I might have took 6 trades in the uptrend, and then in the 3 months of uptrend, I took 6 trades. In the next 6 weeks, I took 15 trades, and I chopped up all my account. The next time, I realized that I took 6 trades in the uptrend and only 6 or 7 in the chop. I still lost money. I shouldn't have done it. It was still stupid, but it was minimized massively. And then it got to the point like where I am now, where I almost never trade in the chop, but I will always still take a trade every now and then, trying to, time the next trend, and I might get stopped out once or twice, but the probabilities and the amount of times I actually catch that early next trend is 80-90%. So I've learned to avoid those 16 shitty trades, and then I cut them down to maybe 6 or 7 or 8 shitty trades, and then I cut them down to only a couple of entries where I'm actually tactically trading. I know I might get stopped out, but I know why I'm doing it, because I'm getting in for the next trend. If I'm correct about the direction, I give myself 2 shots, and if it doesn't work, I go back to the drawing board. And none of that's making money. That's losing less and losing less and losing less, and then getting to a point where even when you're wrong a couple of times, you end up being right after that. So Sit down and think about whatever area it is you're trying to improve, whether it's trading, whether it's work, whether it's physical fitness, whether it's even in your relationships. Analyze your mistakes, find ways to minimize them, and look for different outcomes. Not every outcome has to be making money, like the sales example. Not every outcome is just getting bigger and stronger at the expense of form. It's about getting everything working together as one unit. So take that, and I would advise that you sit down and really think about it. Think about your different areas that you need to work on and focus on, and understand that not all progress is just tied to that number outcome.